One of the biggest things that you need to understand about being a man is that you don't owe anybody an explanation. And like, although we speak about a lot of things on this channel, I feel like this is a very big one as well, one of the biggest ones as well. If you believe in something or you have a certain opinion or belief, you don't have to change it or twist it for anybody else. We live in a society. You know why people are like the way that they are is because human beings are prey animals. We can see it in how human beings are. So we find a lot of comfort in believing and doing what other people are doing and believing as well. And naturally, we treat anything that doesn't align with that as a threat. We treat anything that doesn't match up with that also as a threat, unnecessarily, right? Even though it's not a threat. And one of the biggest things that I want you to have with you in this channel is to really stand by your beliefs. And when I say stand by your beliefs, I'm not saying you need to explain them to random people or get random people to like you or get random people to support you on it or whatever. Is that you need to be able to stand strong in your beliefs. You don't owe anybody an explanation. You don't owe anybody an explanation. You don't owe anybody you know some sort of description or understanding of you or any of that. People are genuinely allowed to make whatever assumptions that they feel about you, and they can just, quite frankly, stick it up where they like it. Okay, maybe that last part wasn't necessary, but even still, literally, literally speaking, because guess what, man? I'm gonna tell you the reality. In this life, bro, if you're gonna be the type of person that just allows anybody and everybody to just sway your thoughts, to sway your opinions, to get you to think the way that they think, you're not gonna have any standing or backbone. It might feel cool in the moment, but you like rob yourself of your own thinking, your own experiences, because surprise, surprise, we're not meant for everybody. There it is. We're not meant to think like everybody. We're not meant to have the same opinions as everybody. And my honest thing is that you know, if you're not talking to that person, debating that idea, and they maybe might heard or know that you are a part of this idea, that's their business. And you should honestly not concern yourself a single second with that, genuinely speaking. And move on with your life, man. Move on with your life and be happy. Because guess what, man? In this life, man, first and foremost, nobody is perfect. Nobody is perfect for anybody, for everybody. Okay? Even God, even Jesus himself, even Jesus, even Muhammad, some of the most popular figures in human history, there's still people who have critiques on these people. I mean, the fact that even Jesus gets critiqued, it's and there's people out there who don't like Jesus. I mean, that's just to show you. I mean, what we're dealing with over here. And one of Jesus's biggest core messages was about love, was about treating everybody the same. Literally, a guy who is literally about love, literally about love. And I'm not necessarily saying I'm Christian or promoting it per se, even though I am kind of Christian. But point is, even though that is the case, I'm saying if Jesus, someone who literally was promoting loving people, treating people with respect and such, at least that's how he was portrayed, helping the poor and charity, if that guy is getting criticism, and there's people who don't like Jesus, there's people who actually curse Jesus, yes, they exist. I remember I was talking to these Satanists. I know it sounds weird, but I just like speaking to different types of people just to learn. I was speaking to different types of people. And when I was speaking to these Satanists, they were like, yeah, Jesus, and Christianity is bitch made, and it's all about control and these pastors and this. They were really they were not really critiquing the religion itself. They were critiquing its followers. And I guess the critique of the religion is that it makes the followers be like this, which is, I'm not here to debate that too hard, but the point is, like, hell, I mean, if these people have their own ways and methodologies of thinking and understanding to critique and not like somebody, I mean, you see how you were playing a losing game fundamentally. Like, I'm not trying to say that you shouldn't be open to criticism. I am saying you should be, to a certain degree, but there's a big difference between constructive criticism and like learning, and like getting better. If somebody says that, let's say someone says to me, "Hey man, you need better editing," I'm like, okay, cool, that's constructive criticism. If somebody says, "Hey man, fuck you, I hate your videos and you should die," it's like, you see, there's your difference. But honestly, it doesn't really matter which one it goes. You're supposed to stick to your opinions, you're supposed to stick to your beliefs, and you shouldn't be a flip-flopping person. Now obviously, like we were mentioning, you shouldn't be a hardhead. If somebody has like an honest analysis on what's going on, they can share it. I'm very open and honest. If somebody's like willing to talk about a religion and its effects and why it comes from, and it's an open and honest and learning type of debate, I don't mind learning. If it's not even a debate at that stage, it's a conversation. And for me at that stage, I don't mind, but if it's, but a lot of times, a lot of the times with these arguments and stuff, it becomes a battle of egos very quickly, very, very quickly. It becomes a battle of egos and trying to like show the other person as stupid or dumb. And that's their way of like saying, yeah, I'm better than you or whatever. And if you watch like my other thing, which is my other video, which was about attention and how you shouldn't give your attention to everybody, like this really plays a huge part of the situation as well. Like really, like you really don't need to explain yourself to anybody. Okay, let me tell you who you should go explain yourself to: a lawyer. That is it. If you have a medical problem and you explain yourself to a doctor, okay, that makes sense. But like, okay, that's kind of like dead obvious. But like, aside from that, which most of life isn't, for your own opinions, for your own beliefs, if you say, as an example, just making up an example, I believe that football is the best sport. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. That's the way I think. I don't need you to like it. I don't need you to understand it. It's fine. If you have your own opinion, or I'm not open for debate. I said what I said. And you're allowed to be like that. You're 1000% allowed to be like that. Now you can say about anything. Now I wouldn't I wouldn't say you should be any type of hateful or violent. Obviously not. But my point still remains. You are allowed to say, I said what I said and I believe in it. Now, you should probably not express these opinions in all contexts. That wouldn't be smart. Some places and some people, it just wouldn't serve you any good to like tell them your beliefs or what you think, unless they ask you. If somebody asks you, what do you think? Well, you're gonna get what I think, because you're asking me. You're asking me what I think. But like, if you're asking like what's the, I don't know, other people's opinions, I don't know other people's opinions, because every person's an individual, believe it or not. So that's one of the things that I really, really wanted to get to hone across today. You do not owe anybody, not a single soul, an explanation about anything. Anything at all. Anything at all. And like the fact that they don't understand you, the fact that, why did he make this decision? Why did he do this? Why didn't he not do this? It's like, that's for me to understand. Do you understand? That's for you to understand. That's for you. That's not for them. They should go worry about their own lives and what that means and looks like. Now, obviously, yes, be a level of respectful and all this other stuff, but my main point still remains. You do not owe, and you should keep this in your mind all the time, I do not owe anybody an explanation on where I'm at, why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm the person who needs to know why. Okay? If you're doing outside workouts, people are like, why is he working out? If somebody asks you, you can just, I'm just trying to get in shape. But like, you don't need to be so self-conscious about the situation. Oh my God, I'm working out. The neighbors are gonna think I'm weird. It's like, dude, let them. And that's probably one of the strongest theories that I've gotten to hear in a long time, which is literally let them. If people want to think that you're weird, let them. If people want to think that you're strange, let them. If people don't want to understand you, let them. If people want to hate you, let them. If people blah 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 blah, let them. Because it's so really funny. We think we have more control over these situations than what we actually do. And we really do not have the level of control that we think we do. Because ultimately, people's opinions and beliefs are based on their own personal interpretations and understandings of whatever the circumstances is at hand. You know? And, the person can literally pick at the blink of an eye what to believe and what not to believe and why and whatever. And there's nothing you can do about that. There's absolutely nothing you can do about that. And when it gets like that, what are we supposed to do? Like, the human brain oftentimes has this illusion of control. We think that the more we worry about something, that's going to magically make that thing like, work or not work, or is going to make it good, basically. When honestly, your own personal thoughts, opinions, and beliefs were honestly irrelevant in how your actions and behaviors are going to manifest into reality. Let me say that again. Your own personal feelings, thoughts, and beliefs are irrelevant compared to what actually lies in reality. So you busy wondering like, oh no, what will people think of me? How people would feel about me? They don't matter, dude. And I've talked about this before in previous videos where I basically said that like people don't matter as much as you think they do. Like, I'm going to say this again. People do not matter as much as you think they do. A lot of people, just to the point, do not matter. At least they don't matter to you. They just don't. I swear to God. There's nothing good for you there. There's nothing good for you there. There's nothing you're going to learn over there. That person is, okay, let's be nice if you want. They can, be on their own path, so to speak. But even still, then that has nothing to do with you. And rule number one of animal law, you are responsible for yourself. You're responsible for your physical health. You're responsible for your mental health. You're responsible for your emotional health. All these different things. That's your responsibility. So you are 1050% within all your rights to be like, I don't have to explain myself to you. And you can say just like that, I don't have to explain myself to you. Because a lot of the times in this life, you'd be so surprised, bro. People are so pushy. People are so pushy. People are so weird. You would not believe. People will feel all types of entitled to you, to your energy, to your this. And they'll make all excuses of the book on why they're entitled to this, that, and the third. Now, obviously, like, if you work at a company and they have to check the files, okay, like, obviously that's the job, right? But in your own personal life, dude, why you chose to eat tuna sandwiches instead of bacon sandwiches, dude, okay, I don't, that you can just say like, it's my decision. Simple as. Like, what are they going to do about it? What are you going to do? Like, no matter what it is, you want to be a quiet guy, be a quiet guy, or whatever. Obviously we have a whole video about how you should carry yourself in some social situations, but the point still remains, dude. Like, I'm honing it in different angles, but I wish I could have knew this earlier. I wish I could have heard this or more repeatedly growing up on how much I really should have not given an F. Because the funny thing is, man, like I spoke about, is like people don't care, man, in reality. Hey, like people will get mad for like 2 3 minutes or whatever, but not even 30 minutes later, I promise you, they are back to their own lives. Back to their own lives. Even fucking 30 seconds, 20 seconds later, they're literally back to thinking, ah man, you know, um, I didn't charge my phone. My phone is on 10% right now. Instantly, back to their own lives. They go back to, ah man, um, it's cold right now. I didn't put on an extra jacket. And their phone is on 10% because they didn't charge it at night or they forgot to charge it. That's literally them. They're not, and you might look at this guy or this girl, and that's what's running through their head right now. But you don't know that. And you're busy thinking that, oh, they're busy thinking about me. And honestly speaking, they're not. They're really not. And it's so important that you know that. Now obviously, look, okay, some things are more obvious, but like the millisecond they get away from you, or even if it's not that or whatever, dude, they forgot about you, dude. They'll remember that experience, but even if they'll remember it as like what happened during that time period, you know. But they wouldn't give a fuck that hard to be like, oh guys, let's actually, no, they don't, they just wouldn't. They just, like, I'm telling you, people do not care half as much as you think they do. And it's like, for the people who do feel entitled to your whatever, to your opinion or whatever, if they literally ask, especially if people ask these impeding, these probing questions like how much money you make, this, that, and the third, you have to literally tell them it's none of your business to their face. That's an instant way to get heavy sets of respect, because many people, they just can't stand up for themselves like that. They try to avoid the question. They try to make it simple or cool, whatever. But it's just like, honestly, like, you're not my lawyer. I don't need to tell. In fact, when it comes to certain financial things, keep it private, or just say that you're well off or anything. Even if you're not, just say that you are, whatever, because, it's not going to end well for you if you tell people the truth, whether it's good or bad, And if it's not that, it's going to be like another thing, health-related problems. I mean, obviously, to a certain degree, you can't hide the fact you were in a car accident, okay, whatever. No one's going to make fun of you for being in a car accident, probably not. But that aside, I'm trying to tell you that, like, literally, you don't owe a soul a single explanation, nothing at all, about nothing. You can make that decision, and that is your decision alone, because these people won't sit with it. So honestly, anybody can feel anything they want at any time. It's just none of their business. And honestly, they should really think about the business that pertains to just you and them, the things that relate to just you and them. Anything outside of that is genuinely, to their face, none of their business. And that's really the video.